that alert out of the University of Wisconsin-Platteville on Monday, it definitely grabbed your attention.
Oh, yeah.
Emergency situation at Wilgus Hall. And just like that, this, residence hall is suddenly the focus.
Absolutely. And in those first moments, you're just flooded with, well, bits and pieces, aren't you?
Yeah.
Breaking news snippets, official statements that are, let's be honest, usually pretty light on the actual details initially.
Right.
And then there's all the speculation, which is understandable.
Totally.
So our mission here really is to take those first reports we've got from local Wisconsin outlets like KWQC, Civic Media, Spectrum News 1, the Journal Sentinel, plus regional stuff from BNO News, even national takes from the Mirror US, Daily Mail Online, and just sort of dig in, see what we can reasonably figure out now, and maybe just as importantly, flag what we still don't know.
Exactly. We know you want the clarity, you want to get the core of it without getting, bogged down in noise. Okay, so let's rewind. Let's start right at the beginning, that first call.
Okay, so the first solid thing seems to be a 911 call. Came in around 4 p.m. Central Time, reporting a situation at Wilgus Hall.
Just a situation. That's pretty general, isn't it?
It really is, and it kind of suggests that maybe even at that moment, the exact nature of the emergency wasn't clear.
What could that even mean? Could be anything.
Could be medical, maybe something else entirely. But what seems key is how fast the authorities made one big decision.
Which it was.
They figured out, and they said fairly quickly, that this wasn't an active, ongoing threat.
Okay, that's huge.
Yeah.
That initial assessment must have really shaped the immediate response then.
I think so. Because pretty soon after, maybe 4:30 p.m., the shelter-in-place order goes out.
Right. Standard campus procedure, basically. Keep everyone safe inside while they figure things out.
Exactly. And we heard there were like 3 separate alerts sent out.
Yeah, multiple alerts. Suggest they were really trying to keep people updated as it unfolded.
Proactive communication, yeah.
And the good news is that order didn't last too long. About half an hour. Lifted around 5 p.m. once they decided it was isolated.
That quick turnaround does suggest they felt they got a handle on whatever the initial worry was.
And we know law enforcement was there immediately. What does immediately look like in a campus situation?
Well, usually it means the university police are first on scene, but coordinating tightly with local agencies.
Like we saw here. City police, sheriff's department, emergency management.
Exactly. Their first job is secure the area, see what's actually happening, assess the threat level.
And the reports mentioned lots of vehicles, red tape around Wilgus Hall.
Yeah, clear signs of setting up a perimeter, controlling access, starting that investigation process.
So definitely a strong, coordinated response. But this is where, well, we kind of hit a wall on specifics, right?
That's really common in these early stages. Authorities, the university, they're very careful.
Why is that? Protecting the investigation.
Partly that, yeah. And making sure they don't release wrong information. So the actual type of incident, still unconfirmed.
Criminal. Accident. We just don't have that detail yet from these sources.
Yep.
And the other big question, obviously, is anyone hurt? Who was involved? Again, nothing firm.
Police Chief Hallman, he stressed it's an active, ongoing investigation. He used the phrase very fluid.
Fluid. That really paints a picture, doesn't it? Things changing moment to moment.
It does, and releasing info when it's still fluid is tricky. You risk misinformation, panic, maybe even compromising the investigation itself.
Or tipping someone off, I suppose?
Potentially. Plus, there are always privacy rules about naming people or giving out certain details.
And we saw the university spokesperson, Christine Belport, specifically declined to comment on whether a shooter was involved.
Right, and while that fits with them saying it wasn't an active threat anymore,
that kind of non-answer still makes people wonder, doesn't it? It's a tough balance for them.
It's incredibly delicate. They're pressured for transparency, but they also have to be accurate and protect the investigation. It often leads to this cautious approach early on.
Okay, but we do have a few confirmed bits. There was a hospital transport.
Yes, Chief Hallman confirmed that. But, understandably, zero details beyond that because of privacy laws.
QA and all that.
Right.
Raises questions, but like you said, speculating doesn't help.
What's also confirmed, and this is probably the most important thing for campus safety right now, is that no one is in custody.
And no active threat. They repeated that.
Crucial message. And also, the university is setting up accommodations for the Wilgus Hall residents.
Ah, okay. So that suggests the building, or parts of it, might be unusable for a while. Or at least inaccessible.
That would be the logical conclusion, yeah. Something happened that requires them to find other places for those students to stay. at least temporarily.
And they mentioned a room-to-room sweep was underway of a residence hall, probably Wilgus, right?
The context points heavily towards Wilgus Hall, yes.
What's the goal of a sweep like that?
It's pretty standard. Make sure the building is totally secure, look for any hazards or evidence, and also provide reassurance before letting people back in. It's methodical.
Okay. Now, we did get a student's view. Eric Sperduto, sophomore, lives in Wilgus. He saw law enforcement going in and just expressed sadness for anyone affected, their families.
Yeah, and that really grounds it, doesn't it? Reminds you of the human impact on the students, the whole community. These aren't just news items.
Absolutely. It disrupts everything, creates so much anxiety and uncertainty.
Exactly what Sperduto's comments highlight.
And related to that anxiety, there were those unconfirmed reports. Some witnesses on campus apparently thought they heard gunshots.
Right. Keyword there is unconfirmed. Authorities haven't verified that at all.
But you could see how that kind of report would spread fast and add to the alarm.
Oh, absolutely. In the absence of hard facts, those kinds of reports can really take hold.
Shoot me to the university's official response. Chancellor Tammy Ivetovich put out a statement.
Yeah, emphasizing student safety and well-being as the top priority. Standard message, but important reassurance.
And then the provost, Laura Reynolds, made a pretty big call academically.
Huge call. Canceling all final exams and assessments for the week for both Platteville and the Baraboo campus.
Why both campuses?
She mentioned the close-knit community, the stress from the incident affecting everyone.
Right. Interesting that commencement, which was just a couple of days before, wasn't impacted.
Suggests they felt the immediate incident was contained by then, perhaps.
What does canceling finals signal, though, about their priorities?
It signals they're prioritizing mental and emotional well-being above everything else right now. They recognize students, faculty, probably aren't in a state to focus on exams. It's a significant acknowledgement of the trauma or stress involved.
Makes sense. We also heard Governor Evers was briefed.
Asked Wisconsinites to keep the campus in their thoughts. Shows it's a statewide concern.
Campus safety affects everyone.
It really does.
And importantly, the university really seemed to mobilize support resources quickly.
Yes, that stood out. Pointing students to Montrose Care Hub, setting up triage counseling for the rest of the week.
And even an overnight emotional support line. That seems critical.
Absolutely critical. In the aftermath of something potentially traumatic, immediate access to mental health support is key. It shows they recognize the urgent need.
And practically, for students worried about those canceled finals.
They directed them to talk to faculty or deans, managing that immediate academic anxiety too.
The incident obviously had ripple effects beyond just Wilgus Hall. The Pioneer Activity Center closed Monday night.
Right, and all campus events for the week canceled. And they funneled updates through the university website.
Centralized info is good in a crisis.
Definitely helps manage the flow and avoid conflicting reports.
So, for folks who don't know UW-Platteville, maybe give us a little context.
Sure. It's in Platteville, largest city in Grant County, down in southwest Wisconsin, pretty close to the Iowa and Illinois borders.
Decent-sized regional university.
Yeah, about, 6,400 students as of last fall, mostly undergrads. Acceptance rate around 88%, so described as lightly competitive.
And almost half the students live on campus.
Nearly half, yeah. Which really highlights the impact when something happens in a residence hall like Wilgus.
That's a good point. With so many living there, the university's response within those halls, like shelter in place, temporary housing, must be well rehearsed.
You'd assume they have pretty robust protocols, yes. And it probably fosters a strong sense of community, which could, amplify the emotional impact of an event, too.
Academically.
Pretty diverse.
Yeah.
Over 40 programs across 3 colleges, known for STEM, criminal justice, education, business, agriculture, liberal arts. A broad range.
And that fun fact. The Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Trained there for years, 84 to 2001, including their big Super Bowl XX season. A little bit of sports history.
Who knew? Okay, so let's try and wrap up what we actually know at this point, based on these initial reports.
Right, so we know an isolated incident happened at Wilgus Hall Monday, May 19th, 2025.
Right. It led to a brief shelter in place.
At least one person was taken to the hospital. No details on that.
Finals are canceled for the week. Big move.
And, critically, no one's in custody. No ongoing threat reported. But the nature of the incident,